quickly, but I do want to look at learning how to spell. Next week, where we have some thickness, right? Monday, yeah, right. I think we might be running off of this week's momentum. Tuesday, same thing, right? A little bit of OPEC, but then Wednesday and Thursday, hot data coming in pre-market. So I think this will be an okay week. Obviously, it's important to recognize if your stock or if your ETF has ran, it's moved in the right direction, or expanded. Be sure to look at what's above you, because that's where expansion typically, or contraction usually begins. So just a little FYI. It's not the most incredible data, right? But it does, I think, especially Thursday, potentially get us a pop. Next week we also have a pretty decent amount of earnings. Where did I put that? Somewhere. Hold on. Try to scroll up. Someone's posting and that'd be sick. They might have found it already. Too late. All right. So next week, we got Rent coming in on Monday morning. I have looked at that one before. That one might be interesting. You guys should take a peek and tell me what you think. C3 AI, Oracle, MongoDB, Planet, which I'm not exactly sure, but Toll, Braze. Those are some ones that are interesting. ASO, Ollie's, and moving in. Obviously, I don't ask me about GameStop. The chart looks like shit. It looks terrible, right? If you take it, it's a gamble, right? Based off the fact that it has a bunch of fucking, maybe not even an empty space, but just fast dumps down through structure. So, but Stitch Fix, not probably going to be interested in that one unless it's just had this shit kicked out of it. Play, Macy's is finally coming in next week. Kind of interested in seeing what that has in store for us after their news and pullback. BZ, I think I've only played that once. Vera Bradley's not really interesting. Adobe coming in on Wednesday. I think last time the contracts were just a bit too expensive, so we let that one slide, but it did go and hit a target. AVGO, Costco, all coming in on Thursday, and then Friday we're dry. So decent earnings going into next week. Recapping from today and yesterday and today, I think it's really important. I was actually using this chart to try to convince Manny to start swing trading. I don't know if it worked. He said he was going to start a $500 account, and just he's always been to change. Those of you guys who've been here for a while, trying to get Manny to scalp is no easy task, or to swing trade is no easy task. But he's going to give it a shot. The reason being, right, we had this one in a box, and I think a lot of you guys know the reason why I'm going to be going over this is because, I am looking at where we close today, because that could indicate a potential leg down with this second high. We gapped up, right? Our target was 1380. We did say that there was a $14+ target. We had, I've not gotten, I'm just recapping here. I'm going to go over the ETFs really quick. 4 hour, right? Moving down, you can see that structure up above us. And so this was a pretty successful play, about 215, 220% to the upside. Fast move down, and that was one of my concerns. And so, as all things do, right, it eliminated its empty space up here, touched its little box, which this box would indicate Riot potentially actually going higher if that was the case. But we also are sitting back down underneath this. So this going into next week, this is actually a play with the empty space that we have underneath us, the box sitting above cost basis, right? And the 1, 2, 3 on the bottom here. Maybe a downside move backed up by the potential, right, of this downtrend. And the reason I'm highlighting this one is because when I took Riot in the first place, that was kind of like my main focus. I wasn't all over the place. I was focused on one, and I really do see a strong potential to not only break this floor, which we do wick off of, right? But to punch down through this box and then go fill this gap down to $10. And I'm sure it'll probably fall a little bit further and touch that floor around 990, right? But that would be a confluential target to the downside that I like. Debating on whether I want to take it today, right? I could potentially find a speculative entry. I'm going to go look at the contracts here in just a moment. But yeah, that's going to be my focus. Now, really quickly, let's brush over the ETFs. 24-hour time frame. You guys know I say the same thing, and I've been saying the same thing on every single candle. Everything is going to be lower time frame, right? We know what's underneath us, and there's a lack of. We got 2 candle closes and a wick right there, which is more than likely going to be a 24-hour top of something, right? There you go. So there's your top of something that I was referring to, right? And then where we're operating now. And we did talk about this wick, right? We did pop out, we did punch back, we did get pulled back in, right? Tapping that wick. And so I think that my box theory is, as of right now, correct, right? Which you're left with a candle touching both the top and cost basis, right? And so both today's high and low can be potential triggers to take this either up, because it's okay to be unbiased, right? You don't have to have an opinion until the chart says, okay, we're underneath cost basis. We can take a shot at breaking this floor. And listen, you guys know what I'm going to say. That is as straightforward a short as you'll ever get in your life, right? Back down to the floor. I think we've done this on SPY and the Qs many times, right? See structure underneath, see empty space, find our floor, find our top, find our cost basis, and wait for the break. So, Ivy, did you announce I was on? Is Ivy on? We might have to do another stream here. Oh, you did. All right. Really quickly, we'll go over the Qs, and this one little different. I decided to flirt around with a short today, just a quick one. Obviously this thing kept ripping to the upside. Really strong punch back over this box, and this is on the 15-minute. You can see the bundle sitting on the floor, pop out, entry, and then as of right now, moving back up to that 24-hour, we're at all-time highs, right? So all I can do is look out below what's underneath. And who knows, maybe this is, SPY hasn't quite done this quite yet, but we did leave empty space underneath us. Already moving down to the 2-hour, right? I can find a floor right here. Move down to the 1-hour. That floor is pretty established right there, so that's going to be the current area. And like SPY, right, but maybe just on a little bit of a lower time frame, because of the empty space underneath us, and look how you ripped out of the box, which is going to be important because you don't want to fall back into a box that looks like that. It's easily pushed through, right? It's not like a box that has a ton of chop in it, or a lot of consolidation representing the more volume. Yes, this is going to be on YouTube. Representing more volume, right, within that box, making it easier to bounce off of, right? With SPY, I can look at the box underneath us, and there's some consolidation in that box, right? Adds volume too. With the Qs, right, that rip through leaves cost basis kind of open to go and get retested. But obviously, for now, play your highs. If you're playing your highs, if you're currently long, I'm sorry. This is the only area I do not thrive, is at all-time highs. But there are very many tools, and if you follow TTI, you guys know damn well that he loves all-time highs, right? And they utilize a couple of tools to find those targets. And with that, I do not disagree, because obviously every strategy is going to have a weak spot, and that is mine. Sir, not everything is technical analysis. There's news and fundamental analysis. I'll let you have that one, dude. I'm a day trader at a firm in NYC, and we don't respect technical analysis. I highly doubt that, and I don't care. Have a good day. So moving on, Qs, right?
Working right now?
Yeah, right. He got fired. QQQ, right? Up at the highs. IWM, not exactly what I was looking for today, but we did wick cost basis because somehow this technical analysis just keeps working. We wicked cost basis and then got pulled back underneath, and yeah, you're probably in a box, but this allows us to set parameters and look underneath us at a clear amount, and I like this one the most, right? Why delete the naysayer? I didn't delete him. My moderator probably muted him, but I read his comments out loud, so you heard it. I really don't. I couldn't care less. All right, Ivy. Damn, Ivy. Hold on. Look at live trading, guys. Look at Ivy. I love it. Oh god, it's the best. No, yeah, I couldn't care less. I look at what's in front of me, just addressing because some people are saying something about it. I look at what's in front of me, right? Evidence, proof. I don't use any fundamental analysis, right? I follow the money. If there's money moving through that stock by some of the biggest institutions in the world, you bet your fucking ass that it's going to move. I don't need to put my opinion. Also, fundamental analysis, you could go analyst to analyst to analyst to analyst to analyst to analyst to analyst, and they're all going to have very different opinions on every single stock or ETF or economic outlook or whatever the case may be. And so who are you sticking with, right? The one that looks the best? Maybe they have a nice beard. Maybe you like their voice, right? But who's right? You only find out until after the fact. And so right now I can only focus on what's in front of me, and that's price, and price fucking pays. So all right, IWM, you guys got it right. We're looking at a punch back up above 240 and then breaking really above 240.50. We're looking at nasty potential for a rippage, right? Because for all intents and purposes, this is the box, right? That's up above us. Punch back, punch over, and then move out. And then obviously 245 would be a potential target there. And I think that would also play into this channel here. 1, 2, and maybe we go for the third. So, all right, that is all of our ETFs. If you guys have any requests that you guys want me to take a look at, comment them now. If you commented them up above us, they're all scattered up. So drop them again really quick for me. The fuck, Dust? That's a box, right? That's a box.
Astro got a little too excited over that one.
He said we're in a box. That's crazy. Yeah, how did Tesla go for you guys today? Not good? Okay. I know some of you guys were holding them. Maybe they people who were have already taken profit and made their bags. But we'll take a look at this one first, which we got to look to our left. And
AMD puts paid.
Oh really? I'll have to take a look at that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, I know this is a really finite detail, but this candle close, I'm glad we're above it, right? We're not past the wicks, but we are above those candles. So if you can open up above those wicks, come back, bounce. What I'm going to do here, right, and this is not a box. What I'm looking at is just like a big leg down. And so I would look at the imbalance here, right, at 391.77 or 392, right? Banked heavy on SMCI. Nice job, dude. Riot was my play this week.
I played Riot and NVIDIA.
Nice. Hell yeah. Yeah, we had a lot of new people too hitting some nice trades too. It was pretty cool to see. But yeah, 392, and then at that point, y'all, listen, I mean, we're here. I mean, and we know obviously with the momentum that Tesla has, we're getting towards those highs, right? Where if there is any selling pressure above us, I would be scared. I'd be nervous because this might just blow that top right off. But the top would obviously be the target here at 405. I do, Jose. Yeah, it's in the free Discord. You'll see the link for it. All right, moving on. Tesla. Okay, I'm not sure if that was a request or just a statement. Rio, what the hell is this? Okay, very illiquid, just coming off of a retest of the box up above. See a little tappy tap, and then right here, looks like you might be taking a crappy, right? So I'd look at this one maybe to lay down. I don't know if that's what you have on your radar there. Little channel there too as well. So hopefully, you know, and this thing's super duper liquid, but you know, maybe you come back down and just hit the floor. Target, not bad on the close. I don't hate that at all. You know, this is where you punch through this box so fast that I would still look at that. And I mean, closing up against target's wall like that is definitely not a bad sign going into next week. This is also 1, 2, 3. I guess just 2. We're being realistic here, but the only thing that I would, and I don't want anybody to sit there, and I don't put as much weight on channels breaking that as you might expect. Like channels breaking, that's great, right? But if this thing rips out, if you're already in, right, obvious stop losses are here or here, depending on where you got in. The empty space that you're leaving behind you indicates that if this is truly a break, it has to keep moving, right? It has to keep moving, and obviously 134.50 would be a channel target above us, right? Now at that point, your job is to be here on the lower time frame and mapping out everything that you have up above you and paying attention. Did you rip straight the fuck up? Okay, well, there's a good chance that you might have to zoom in even further to like the 3 minute or the 5 and start looking for structure there, right? We're called to the lower time frame when needed, but still aware of where the higher time frame has us at. But that's what I would be looking at on target. So that's a bear flag. All right, boss. You got me. You win. UPS. Ooh, shit. All right. Well, I would be looking at
that was good.
Yeah, that was good. Box down below, right? 123.94 would be my target to the downside there. Damn, dude, Sicilian lemonade is fire. Damn. I sold all my stocks for H-bar. Very cool. But yeah, that's what I'll be looking at. Sorry, I mean, that's what the system says. Maybe you just, yeah, I mean, closing here is obviously good. Maybe you get a wick off of class basis, but other than that, yeah, I think you got a strong chance of moving down to 124. LMT, again, if you guys have like I'm looking at this short, I'm looking at this long, please let me know what you're thinking. That way I can maybe see what you see. All right, so I'm gonna go to the weekly on this one because I think that's gonna be the most important. Some of the
short.
Huh?
Looking at it short. Sorry, I was just trying to post a chart on it right now.
Oh, you're good. I just want to make sure that everybody's getting what they need.
You're right. I remembered that after I put that up there.
All right, so, and I feel like I don't know what's wrong with my browser right now, but all right, we'll get rid of that. Okay, so so you got it's tough to spot here, but you got a wick and a body, right? This just indicates me that that's a 24-hour floor, and you've definitely lost it, right? You're sitting on top of the wick. This is also a 24-hour ordeal. So what I would be doing, right, because you have this giant fucking candle right here, I'd be aiming for like 50% of it at 495. But ultimately, you know, and I'm sure you probably see this too, there's a good chance you're going to be back down at 475.45. But what I would really want to know is what is the 50% mark from here to here? Pretty close, right? So just, again, just like Target, pay attention to how price action responds. And then what's above you, right? 24-hour time frame. How'd you move down? You move down, you know, it's clear where you don't want to be. Anything above that, you know, strong chance of a potential climb back up. Do you have empty space up there? You have pockets of it and a little bit of a gap up there, but that would require that you punch through this structure above you. So I would say the downside's looking a little bit slow. But if this is something that you're already in, again, you know, just mind your stop losses. On the hourly here, you can see that it did lay down pretty quickly, so that might get retested before you venture down any further. So, all right, DKNG. That's funny. Carvana is pulling back hard. Okay, so you are about to have a fist fight with cost basis, right? You've already wicked it with 3 weekly candles. 1, 2, 3. So at some point, right, something's got to give. Now, buyers have propped you back up and brought you back up above 44. That's not a bad sign, right? But what are they recovering? And this is where you start to do a little bit of brain surgery. And even this floor right here, right? And this really insignificant, but significant, I guess, in nature because it's the only thing above you, but you are pushing down below that. So what has to be done, right, is what can't you lose? And while this is kind of an ugly ass chart, come here. This would be my first target, which is also just happens to be 50% of the wick, right? So I would be looking at that mark first, but if you are able to close under this mark, which is what this wick is trying to avoid, then you could see a lay down. So squads are fucking, god damn it, Stelio. I read that and it replaced the word that I was gonna say. Damn it, Stelio. All right, AMD Neil said you slapped that one on. Let's take a look at it. Wow, so that'll make for a good bounce play eventually, right? At least inside of that box, you're leaving behind a lot of junk. All right, so here was your box, right? That was your box, and you're falling underneath it. So there is a good chance that you could be suspecting new lows. The obvious floor here, and then no, you know what? I'm being stupid. I just deleted it and forgot. Box, right? Backs. So that's the fucking mark, right? And then I'm not a big fan of it just because there isn't any empty space past this. The only thing that I see is that, right? And the most recent price action, this is where people get confused, but the most recent price action that's yet to be touched. And so your levels would be 124.33, right? 120.50, psychological, right? Punch down, empty space, 110. So I mean the potential there is big, but Prince, I got 100 people in here, and then I got people in the Discord dropping requests as well. Am I going to look at it or not? Yeah, I'll look at it though. Your name really, you really are a Prince, man. All right, but not yet. All right, so AAP, that closed pretty nicely. Oh, look at that. Let's see. Candle close. So I guess 24-hour. You're just squeaked out, right? Seems like at the end of the day. So going back up to the 24-hour, 47. Yeah.
I was thinking 50s. Do you think that's too far out of the money?
No. 40. What are people buying as it crosses 45 and 47 and?
True.
Can you explain if a spread has an effect on my trades? Yeah. I don't take him. Yeah, I just don't take them. That's if it has a wide spread, like, you know, if it was 15 and 50 or 15 and 25 would even kind of be pushing it a little bit. What it means to me, right, is that those options do not have a lot of volume. And they don't have a lot of open interest, and there can be opportunity in that, right? Especially if you can play with that bid and ask. Which behind closed doors sounds a little weird, but you know, you could potentially play that to your advantage, but yeah, I typically stay away from things that have wide spreads. You know, $5 or $10, you know, is pushing it. You know, if it's a $200 or $300 contract, which I'm probably not going to be trading anyway, then, you know, maybe a $20 spread might be okay. But yeah. Hey, listen, Prince, I don't think this is going to work out, dude.
Throw him out. Throw him out.
Oh God. SoFi. Love you. Safe.
Ban his ass.
God, you guys are savage. Yo, hold on. I see these wicks right here. And that's the top of our candle. And there's a pocket, right? So forget all this. Right? It's important, but not right now. What is above us in the most recent price action? Empty space. There's a little bit of structure here. We'll have to dive in on the 24-hour. And pretty close. Kind of ugly. So we'll yank that back up, and then so the way you fall out of that, right? And obviously I'll pay attention to 1988, but I would be aiming for 2171. Thanks for making content, Butter. You give me a lot of hope. Oh, cool, man. Glad I could do that. Hopefully that translates to cash. All right, SoFi, NVIDIA. You know, when I see a bunch of people on the internet and they're all like going one way on a stock, I think it's a toxic thing. I kind of hope that it goes the other way.
I try to bounce it. That's why I'm calling, and then it looks like it's more downside. So,
you know,
I got out of it.
I would be. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I would be kind of like a little weary, right? About. So this is like, okay. If you came up to me with a gun and you were like, or a PU, and you were like, "Yo, hey, up or down on NVIDIA?" I literally would probably just have to take the slug, because I would just be unbiased. A rejection off a cost basis without a loss of the floor doesn't indicate anything is lost, right? Above 145.60 would be long, and I ain't fucking with NVIDIA, right? Trying to go short on it without having a. Now we could go down into a lower time frame. How did we fall? Pretty fast, right? What did we leave behind? A fucking box, right? So we're not even quite. You could see this is where lower time frame. On the higher time frame, you might see that candle dip down, but it might bounce off this box here and then reclaim its floor and then move back through that empty space, punch back and rip, right? So if my honest opinion right here is I don't have one. I don't have an opinion. I would be waiting for confirmation. You know, if I took this, I would say this is purely speculative. So, I have not. I am trying to move through the request here. Mara, in a box, so that's an easy answer there, right? Now, this is where if you want an answer while you're in the box, you have to do a little bit of surgery, right? Now, of course, someone's probably saying it in their mind right now. I don't want to hear it, right? I know what it looks like. I don't care. I see this, right? And I see a floor. Below that floor, right, is a small box. That box would indicate to me that we're going to fall, right? 2375 lost, and then there's I might pay attention at 2250, but you know the empty space ends at 2145. So at the moment, you know, in order to get the higher time frame motion to work, and I could see this going both ways, right? And I hate when you're in a box, it's not a terrible way to be. Obviously, you're sitting at the floor, you've bounced, and you've closed against cost basis. So if you gap up next week, that top is vulnerable. And you've hit it enough times that I think it would possibly break, and 3250 would be the target above. Below, because we've bounced off cost basis, but we haven't recovered, or bounced off the floor, but we haven't recovered cost basis, right? Open below or right at, and you could drop and we could fall. And I think that looking at the overall trend and what's underneath us, this to me would still be the floor, right? And 2150. And I think that plays into, let's see. That's pretty close. So, but anyway, yeah, Mara is coiled, and this is the same reason that I took Riot, right? Coiled up, pop out, and then I played the dump, of course, which was fun. Dow, punch back, down potential right there. You're sitting at cost basis. You have another small box directly underneath that, acting as a second support, so you'd hope to double trigger, right? Punch back. This is your low, right? So punch through that, and then you would have this next structure at 58. So it wouldn't be, there's not empty space unless you look at the weekly, right? And so if you're taking it on the weekly, you're looking left, and that's okay. So actually, I could give you an even better mark here, under 61, right, or 60.80. That's where I would be looking down. For sure, especially seeing that red wick off of it, that's where I would be looking down, and I'd be looking at 55.75. Hold on one second. Seat. All right, sorry about that. No, row your boat. How common is it for you to take 3 weeks out trade and hold contracts for 3 weeks? I typically don't hold them to expiration, unless they're the weekly ones. But I mean, it's not. Maybe I would say it's rare-ish, but you know, I do go long on things if I see it on the weekly. So, all right, that's Dow. McDonald's. So it's good to obviously look at the weekly candle closes on Friday. So what do we have here? So you wicked up. It kind of reminds me of Riot, right? This candle right here where you explode off of, right? you go and you wick that top. What happens to price? It gets pulled back underneath or right at that mark. So 24 hour, right? There's a perfect narration. Now, typically, whenever you break something, you don't want to fall back underneath it. It's just a solid rule of thumb, right? And this has been oscillating for a while. So if this, and you do have more empty space to the upside, right? And I would be looking here at the 310.60 mark up above us. But the fact that you've pulled back the way that you have, and it's that you are exactly there. So underneath this 259 mark, I mean, and honestly, until it triggers cost basis on the 24 hour around 294, I would be, obviously be leaning to the downside if you punch back down. But at the moment, it's just a candle close underneath. So, you could pull back, bounce, and then try and eat that wick back up. But I'm not a big fan of this until the trigger hits. Lemonade. 24-hour breakdown, retest. Where are you at on the weekly? It's a lot of empty space down. You're sitting at or were. Oh, hey, look at that. So are you short yet? Not quite. Do you have more empty space up above? Absolutely. $61. Does this potentially give you the opportunity to look at it both ways? Absolutely. 24 hour, right? So again, retest. What's underneath us? Not much, right? It looks like this wick right here where you push off and make that new high. That's exactly where we're establishing. Now this can and will turn into its own larger area of consolidation, and that's cool, right? Because we know that this is a weekly floor. Right, so realistically, it's not just that wick, but it was the weekly floor that you pulled back to and you bounced. So what do you need to recover? 48.65 and punch through that median. And yeah, I mean, with the way that Lemonade is moving, that could be a potential target there. If you lose that weekly floor, though, however, downside would be 35. 35 flat to the downside. So, I'm working my way down the list. Hold on. BST. I mean, the easy answer here is, you have a well established floor 153.50 and a top at 167.70, and you're sitting on cost basis right now. So, I mean, those would be my areas of engagement on both sides of this potential trade. Then downside, right? It's limited, where you would have a potential retest off of the top here at 145, and this could be recognized as a box, right, which would punch you down and move you here. So, unbiased. Alex, I'm obviously that, but a lot of the times you just need the right information, right? The wrong information has you feeling clueless, and that's typically how people feel. All right. Which one? What the fuck is this? Nibix. Neurocrine Biosciences. Neurocrine. I don't know. Where are you at? You're at the floor here. You've already wicked off of it, so that clearly says that if you break over it, you definitely be looking at 144 as that floor, and then maybe even cost basis at 149.28. So that's what I see right there. definitely has empty space on the weekly here. Good candle close in the most recent price action. I mean, the only worthwhile target here for me would be 334. All of that empty space up there. Yeah, so I just would like to see a 238 push candle close. So mostly in the Discord, but yeah, I am. QCOM. You know, I really don't like this price action within this stock today. You know what I saw, if you are again zooming in here, this week, excuse me, was a retest of that floor up above. So you would have to definitely be looking down here. So 152.14. You have the wick candle at 144.10. That could be a potential target there. It's not a chart that I love for sure. But I will say, let's see, is this cost basis here? It sure is. So punch down underneath that, and it's definitely a long-term play because I don't want any part of whatever this is. You know, and you still have 168.84 up above. All my options in the red. Why? QCO 5. Okay, so I have not looked at this in a minute. You punched, you did what you're supposed to do. You went up, you touched your floor, you got pulled back underneath this wall right here, and now you're sitting at that floor, right? So underneath that floor, it's just empty space, and look out below. $100 retest potential. Cat. So until the 390s are broken, you know, again, this could just be a pullback. It does look like you might be creating a lower time frame downtrend right here, where maybe perhaps you break down and go hit the floor here at 270. But let's see, are you operating in this channel here? Yeah, I guess there's enough points of contact there. So the way that I'm looking at this, I guess, is just, this is the floor. It's not a really clean chart. It doesn't really, but that would be where you broke out from. And so if you did fall underneath it, you'd have a straightforward target here at 362. Abdul Hamad, what's up, bro? 5 CAD. Still has the same target of 83.50 up above. Obviously with today's candle showing a little bit of weakness, but nothing too crazy. You're actually fighting to hold this high right here as we speak. But the way that I would be mapping this out is 2-hour box. So gap fill bounce potential, right? That's in the air. And then you have this structure here, and that's where you would likely see a retest. Oh, thank you for the gift. I appreciate that. Gotta do that. It's not the prettiest chart in the world, but I mean, it looks short. Dipping back under $78. Definitely not a lot of empty space here, except until like 75, 74. So, I mean, yeah, that's definitely didn't want to pull back underneath that. So. All right, Starbucks. Wow, what a fucking mess. What a nightmare. As far as tension, this channel's maxed out, right? As far as structure, I mean, I don't know what the hell this thing is accumulating, but I suspect the move would be relatively strong coming out of it. But you are, I mean, you're placing orders on every box, retesting everything you break. So as of right now, 24-hour time frame, you've bounced off of cost basis and the previous wall, and so your goal is to break above today's high at $100.67 and push cost basis at 101.50. Otherwise, you know, underneath that wall, you run the risk of legging back down. So. Weekly box, which, you know, knock yourself out if this doesn't do it first. But this is the box you're operating in, so perhaps over the median 26.50, you can see a tap of that high. The only way that this is intriguing to me, from being dead ass, is under, right? And you have like a couple of like really serious, like this mark at 19. I mean, that's a free fall to 13. Dustin David, man. Hell yeah, dude. All right. Am I tripping for trying to swing Riot for puts? I mean, that's what I said I was going to do. But I didn't, because I wasn't looking at the clock. I'm not tripping because the way it closed today, we still have some meat to cut through. But the candle did close down where I liked it. Are you fucking kidding me? We listen and we don't judge coin? I'm fucking done, dude. You guys turn every crumb, try and turn that shit into Thanksgiving dinner. That's crazy. All right. Wow, we gotta capitalize that shit. You're lucky I saw it. UNH. It's probably too soon for a joke, right? I don't know. We'll leave that alone. Let it fall where it may. So we've got right here, and that's basically where, you know, trouble brews. The way that you left that area indicates that you could definitely see 522 here, but on the weekly you are up against that box, and the way that you fell is a little trippy, right? So if you bounce here, and here's how I would be mapping this out. If you bounce, how do you know you're going to go up? You reclaim a floor that you've lost. Motherfucker, come here. At the end of the day, right, they could still fucking recover. Not Guactua like in the live. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm definitely, I shouldn't even say that fucking corn. CoffeeZilla roasted her ass, so it was pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's what I see. As of right now, you did successfully punch down. It's 540 that needs to break, so. Yeah, Tesla is going straight to cost basis. or straight to that top to see if it responds. Hi.
Love how I had 390s and they expire today.
No fucking way. I hope you didn't leave them in your account, dude.
Oh, they got liquidated.
Oh, good. Holy shit, man. Imagine that shit you got exercised. You don't want to get
Would've been bad.
exercised by the market, dude.
That would have been bad.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, there you go. Look at that little wick. The widow wick. Target. How do you do that one? Yeah, I did. I think it looks good. I don't hate it. Did I hit Miss Chipotle? Can I explain where I got in on riot puts? Yeah, for sure. So, we were watching up in this box for, you know, the 14 area to get hit, or excuse me, over on this box, watching for this, and again, this was a gap up trade. I saw the candle close right up against this wall for the 4th time, coming off of cost basis, big candle close here, empty space up above on the 24-hour, right? And so what I wanted was basically a gap up to or a push to 1387. It did successfully do that, but one thing that I usually always pay attention to, and I did mention that morning, was that you didn't close on top of it or open on top of it. You opened under it, which typically means that it's going to be in seller's hands at the bell. So moving down into a lower time frame, I basically was watching the 5, which I'm not usually super keen to, but I did recognize that there was weak volume underneath us, and I utilized this little tiny box right here, right? Because we essentially punched through it in the morning. That's where they left that volume, those orders got filled. It ripped up to 14, and then again, one of the things we never want to do, whether it is here or if it's here, we do not want to fall back under what we've broken out of. So knowing that, yeah, if we punch underneath this, then we're going to have a straight shot down to 1314 or 1340, which would be cost basis, or that floor, excuse me. Then I could go ahead and take it all the way down. So when you gap up, it leaves behind empty space or a lack of volume, so it's easy to push through. And obviously this, I left runners even further, and it went and touched cost basis on the dot and then popped, and that's actually where it reversed off of today, and moved right back up. And then and guess what? So, you know, what's kind of interesting is it did almost exactly replicate exactly why I took it in the first place on the way back up, right? It's like I take it because it's, you know, closing up against that wall in the 24-hour. And then when you go down to the hourly, you dump fast, right? You built a box, you hit cost basis, you did it quickly, you built a box, right? Candle close outside of it, you go up and you retest it, you break right through it. Look at the candle close right at cost basis at 1285. Punch through, empty space, and then you move up a little bit into this structure and tap right around cost basis. And again, how'd you move up? What'd you hang on to? And you lost your floor and you fell right back down right through that empty space. So that's why I'm looking at it, yeah, potentially short in here as well, because you're going to pop right back down. But this time you have volume, or we could look at it like sell orders waiting, right? If you punch underneath this cost basis, then I would bet that we would keep legging down. It's probably cap. All right. Microsoft. I hate that stuff so much. It popped out. I think we talked about that, right? Especially with the candle close up against that wall, moving through the wick. And it looks like you wicked right off of. This will give you access to the rest of that empty space. Pretty close to that. I would have had it at 446.77, but you didn't quite make it there. But it's going to have to be solved here on a lower time frame. So what's underneath you? What's above? So below you, you have to stay and look. You're building on it right now. And then you have that target that we marked up at the top. And so you're pinched in between the two. So south, I would be looking under here. I use TradingView. Oh. Yeah, TradingView Premium. All right. Cool. Well, I think really quickly. Well, yeah, we'll look at AI real quick before the end of the day. Look at that recovery. Uh-oh. Damn. Should have took that one. It does respond to earnings often. Yeah, I mean, so 47 would be the first target, and then the second target, which is kind of sneaky, would be right there, and that'd be 58.75. It is on YouTube. Yeah, if you're new here to my channel, or shit, if you've been here for a while, the class that I held the other day is posted in the educational playlist. Somewhere. Oh, maybe I didn't add it to the playlist. I should probably do that. Yeah, so this one right here with 666 views. That's creepy. I saw you subscribe to JID. I've been to JID's concert. Yeah, I've also subscribed to Bluey. I didn't even know you could see this. Uh-oh. Yeah. Mostly music. I got kids, so heck yeah, man. Looking forward to it. I hear they're taking TikTok away. Yeah, whatever. No, I don't have Miss Rachel on there. Subscribe to Bluey. Listen, my kids fucking love Bluey. Oracle, did I do that one? No, I don't think I did. Weekly candle is inside of its range after dipping down, retesting underneath it, and pulling itself back up. So I'd be looking at this top right here to go and pop over that top at 194. This is the second time you've done it. On the 24-hour, you really don't really lose that box. So you could really actually say that this is still in consolidation. But yeah, break over that 195, and you know, I'd be looking to tap that top there. So oh yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Well, if you had have any gains to throw in the chat, looks like you guys did pretty good. UPS, nice, good job on the put, Freddie. Hedge on AMD. Damn, really? You paid 7 cents and sold it for 150, Rice, and you're new. Nice job.
Just give me my money.
Mm-hmm. Crypto people, nice job. Whatever that is.
Yo, Potter.
Nope.
So, I know we only do technicals.
Yep.
But would you think that United Healthcare would be another CrowdStrike situation where they just had that news huge drop and potential for just recovery over some time?
I mean, and I think that goes without saying. Like, I wouldn't even look at. So I think what's going to keep me true, right, is not thinking, because I mean, CEOs come and go. I'm sure they can find somebody else to fucking run the show, and it's not like he doesn't have a bajillion people underneath him, doing parts of his job or whatever. So I'm sure somebody could step up. But yeah, looking at this unbiasedly, if you were to say short now, I would say no, not yet. We haven't seen a candle close, and we just bounced. And then how did we fall? We actually fell really quickly. So even if we did fall further, right, it wouldn't be until this structure here that we would actually be in tangible danger, I guess, if you would say. So it would, if you're somebody who likes to understands what news does to traders or what news does to price, like, it may whiplash it, but typically, not all news, but a lot of the news will. I mean, I've seen Apple announce shit, it pops up and then completely reverses because it really doesn't affect the price of the stock. It's just a reaction from traders. So with this, for sure. But I still say, of course, if we dump down, we break under 510 and break 494, dumpies. So are we full porting into Monday? What are you talking about, dude? Holy crap. If you are going to hedge yourself, you have 1 minute with the Qs or SPY or IWM or whatever. 88%, okay, on equity. 257%. Damn, Raul. You crushed Lulu and Adobe for about the same percentage mark. Nice job. Excuse me.
Yeah, news and data just pushed the stock in the direction it was already going to go, just faster.
Yeah, you could look at it that way. Before he got shot, I mean, just before that even happened, what happened before that, right? You look at the box, popped up, bounced off cost basis, failed at the top here. Actually, right here, the day before you would have suspected, because you didn't lose anything, that you would have gone up and popped that. You did, and then they sink it down, right? I mean, that's built into the chart. You punch through this tiny lower time frame box at 565. You've hit the floor, and again, people blinded by the news, not looking at price. They might catch you might catch another leg down here, right? Again, we have 520, and I'll leave these up here. But
can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Just to add, like, you can say the same thing about Lyft.
Yeah, same thing there.
The setup was there, and then that news pushed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, somewhere out there in the internet ether, there's a video of me shorting Meta. Some of you might have been there, and I said I can't. I feel like this is a news setup. Like, it's all tight and everything else is moving, and I feel like it just needs a crack. Something exterior, an exterior force to come and displace that volume that has us concentrated. And within 5 minutes of me saying that, Meta, I can't remember what came out, but it dumped off that news, hit my target through the empty space. I got out. I didn't get out of the way, which I should have. And it bounced so fucking hard and went right back up to where I took the short in the first place. Because guess what? That news really didn't matter at all. But it did create a liquidity event, if you want to look at it that way. So,
right, it just made it happen a lot faster.
Yeah, it literally just went. That would have happened, naturally. If you just have tension building, that tension's set to break. But if you have something come and, crack it before you, or before, so I think that's the importance of, like, if you see something, right, or if you see a setup, if you can position yourself correctly, it's obviously the right thing to do. Whether it's with a speculative position or If you're just targeting compounding those contracts and the contracts are priced correctly, and it's low risk, high reward, there you go. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, if I didn't know that guy, I would have shorted this, right? You know, I'm not gonna really ever short UNH, but looking at the empty space underneath us, right? I would have gone short through that cost basis. But Starbucks as well, and you know what the roughest thing is when it's really sucks, because I watch it happen to a lot of people. People will chase the news, and sometimes, like I said on this one, it'll give you part of that move, right? Even if you're being dumb and you're chasing it or whatever. Not to say that taking this right here is dumb, but even if you're just chasing the red candle without any, you'll move down, right, and bounce right back up. If this candle's completely red, I highly doubt that we don't respond to this structure and then move back up and retest. And guess what? Everybody's short. Everybody's short. Everybody's fucked. Cost basis, right? Then you have what I dub like a double trigger, right? The triple whopper, where that empty space would also potentially allow us to move up into. Look at that volume packed up around cost basis. So moving through that, right, and this thing could reverse and move into new highs. They didn't have to pay their CEO for a week and saved $1 million. I'm sorry.
So that's kind of where I was coming at it from. So if we do break down and fill up that empty space, you know, a lot of that move came from that news catalyst, just kind of like CrowdStrike did, and I bought equity based off of the fact that was, you know, that was the reason why we moved down, and just held it all the way back up to all-time highs, because United Healthcare is such a huge conglomerate company, you know.
Yeah.
Where are they going?
Yep. And you know, I think like an alternative to that is like, you know, a lot of people ask me like, you know, how do you buy long-term stuff and why do you buy long-term stuff? And, you know, an easy answer for me is to always say like, well, if BlackRock owns it, I know that money's moving through it. And that's the easy answer. But the real answer is like, and I would bring to the table like PLTR, you know, granted setup, you know, potential is there. What started happening? Well, actually, funny enough, PLTR was had an incredible amount of short volume for a while for its stock. It was, and I'm not the only person who noticed this, but it was from what a lot of people, and I say a lot of people, but like a lot of educated people who spend a lot of time breaking down the company itself, you know, could see that this was kind of like a targeted event. They wanted, I mean, it's not fake news that if there's a stock that they know inevitably is going to rise. I mean, you look at where PLTR is all around the world, you know, or who they're working with, which is our government, you know, other governments, and it has a lot to do with war and surveillance, and you don't just, you know, make these type of relationships and then have a stock that's, you know, sitting down at its low. So, you know, we saw a lot of pressure down on PLTR, and what I started hearing is that a lot of institutions were starting to buy it back up, right? Fidelity and State Street and BlackRock and all these, and I'm not exactly, again, I don't spend hardly any time going over the fundamentals on the stock. I want to know who's buying it, and that's what first piqued my interest. And of course, you know, there were members, he used to be a admin here. He kind of helped start the whole thing. But you know, one of our buddies, Atlas, he was a huge bull, you know, on this stock in particular, to the point where I remember him, you know, the initial pump up and then the leg down, he was writing covered calls to try and, you know, generate some cash and hedge himself, because while he was right, he was absolutely right, and he's probably very, very happy right now, because he did not stop buying down at the lows, especially when you see something like the low get tapped off of or hung on to, you know, for a while. But, you know, that's the type of things that I pay attention to, is because who runs this shit, right? We all talk about it, joke about it, but like at the end of the day, if these institutions that in a day put in an order could, you know, make or break your stock, if they're buying these things up, and it's, you know, again, something that it's kind of like a no-brainer. It's not like PLTR is a bunch of dudes in their garage making drones, you know. You should look up their locations. It's pretty wild, but you know, that's where, you know, sister, and I could look, I mean, I could say all of that and then go to the chart and then say, okay, if PLTR reclaims this floor, I'll buy there and set a stop loss. If it breaks cost basis, I'll go ahead and take my ad, right? Take my equity purchase and start looking. And it does its job. It did its job, right? Look, you fill up the empty space that's up above you. And then because inevitably you're going higher, and this actually looks a lot like NVIDIA's chart. NVIDIA just has more price action behind it. You go sideways, right? Pop back up, you're moving through structure, right? So you go sideways again. And then as you get to the top, any overhead pressure, right, that had kept this stock down, we can just go ahead this is where I say TTI, it's not, I mean, TTI has the right idea. When you move up into highs, right, and you see that explosion in price, that's what happens when you push that overhead pressure out. It's hard to short when something's breaking or making all-time highs. That's probably the fastest way to lose money, actually. And I cannot tell you how many people I used to watch live try to short tops. But do I do crypto? No. What do I think of the new skin nut? I don't.
Yeah, I kind of had a similar idea about that with like Target too, because we have a floor that we need to punch over to start moving back through that empty space from earnings. And
yep, and that's 50% of that empty space. I think that's why I have that box down there.
yeah, I mean that one not so much, more as United Healthcare with like the equity play, where I would feel like more safe. Because even Target is still, you know, I don't see them going to anywhere anytime soon.
No, I mean they're not K Barton. Every yoga mom I know, which I guess actually now that I think about it, I don't think I know any, but maybe some in this chat
from TikTok and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? If you're asking me, do you think that Target would make a good equity purchase? You know, like, that's kind of a no-brainer question for me, right? It's Target, right? Eventually, and usually if it leaves, yeah, what the fuck am I talking about? You're going to go up. Inevitably, indubitably.
Yeah, I was bad.
You're going to go up. This is going to get filled. If it doesn't, I quit. But that's with stocks like this, you know, if this was fucking Nikola, dude, even fucking Nikola fills it. I mean, all the way down. And I lost. Guys, I made a lot of money on Nikola shorting it. And then I lost a lot of it. Painfully, dude. You're probably hearing my voice. It still stings. I had a lot of money slip through my fucking fingers. Because I thought, right, it's a fraudulent company. It's got to go to zero. Well, I was right. Right? Almost. We're getting close.
What did they even do?
They roll fucking fake trucks down hills.
Okay.
It was I mean, so you have Tesla, right? So this guy, and if that didn't scream scam, this guy started a EV company making EV trucks, and I think cars, but I think they were like focused on big rigs, and they were planning on doing an EV one, and you know, with Tesla being one of the hotter stocks in the market, when this thing IPO'd, it fucking exploded. And, you know, obviously it wasn't at 2,800. They've done split the stock, but You know, so I think up at the 90s or 70s, and they got caught rolling a truck. So like basically, I forget how this information was figured out, but they never really had a real prototype. They didn't really have anything tangible. You know, I think they flip-flopped and forth between, you know, like the potential of hydrogen and like all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, everything was found out to be fraud. I think Trevor Milton got sentenced, right? I think he went to jail. I'm not sure. Let's see. Kind of curious. Yeah, 4 years in prison over fraudulent claims about electric vehicles. Right? He's still, but look at me and fucking look at the chart. I can promise you this. That might be worth 4 years. Can't really make that trading 4 years, you know. But yeah. So like, while I was right the whole time, I remember after an earnings, I actually remember going into an earnings where, you know, it was still on the table whether they're doing fishy shit, and the way that you dumped, right, left behind a ton of fucking empty space. And it also, and this is what I missed, I'll regret it, but I was not looking at the short volume or the short float. There was no more shares to short. So what happens then? Everybody gets out. And that's why when you're looking at this stock, you see these fucking massive wicks. And guess where they go and touch? Right?
Cost basis.
Almost every time, right? Wick down at the bottom, 915 right there. Right? But doesn't close over cost basis over here. Hi.
Yes, we saw Chucky.
Oh god, scary. Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah.
They
Hi,
had
baby.
the mascot there.
Oh, really? That's terrifying. There, is that your school?
Yeah. He was at our school.
That's scary. What's up, dude?
Hey, Dad.
Too cool. But anyway, you know, that's I think, you know, yeah. But I think that's where, you know, I've learned that this is a machine, right? And you can have an opinion about the machine, right? But if you don't know how it if you don't crack that fucker open and see how it works, right? You're just guessing. It's just a slot machine. But when you look at like, okay, this is and I say that as like, this is a vehicle for people who know, who are in the know, who have the information, who are able to obtain that information before we know anything about it, while it might even be an idea. They're able to shape this in a way that it is set up around the potential for that catalyst, or it's set up. It's so interesting to me, and I think a lot of you guys have had this moment too, where you will see a setup, right? And this is what we're just talking about, but like, we'll see a setup, it'll look great, it'll be sideways building. I think, you know, and this is kind of like, you know, on the other side of it, but like with ANF, right? We pop up, we hit cost basis, and then the CEO is a pedophile. Like, what the fuck? You know, it's like perfect timing. And how did we rip up there? We ripped up really, really quickly. So off that news, it pulled back, hit the bottom floor, and now it's bounced up and made a mess of everybody who has an opinion about it. So yeah, it's just it's something that, you know, if you go into this market and you're learning from everybody, you know, and you're watching all these YouTube videos, you're going to either jump in that ship of having an opinion, you know, about everything. But once you realize that everybody has an opinion, it's like, okay, well, how much weight should I put into what I think, when you might have somebody who works at a bank who's putting a downgrade on that stock, you know, and that's their job from 9 to 5, you know, is to fucking judge stocks and you know, work through the financials and place price targets on it. So I think this also just pulls into the whole, we're not attached to this emotionally. If it's just, candles or price on a screen. And that's how we make our money. I was talking to Manny about this today, because Manny's a scalper. And so while Manny is incredibly knowledgeable, crushes scalp trades that, I could never do it, there are moments where because he's so zoomed in, and I'm telling him this exact same thing, that those old habits or those old emotions of like when you get into a trade and things are moving fast, right? You don't really know where you're at on the higher time frame. And then you get out because you're worried, right? Not because it went and hit your stop loss, but because it was acting weird or price was moving slow or like all of that, right? Is emotional, right? It's and I know a lot of you will do the exact same thing, right? Something will get close to your stop loss and the candle will be bright red and just looks like the candle is going to jump off the screen and kill you. But I continue, and I'll probably, if I ever write a book, it'll definitely be in there. But you play the chart. That is where you came up with the idea to take that trade. And so you take that trade on that premise. So anytime you start any journey, there's going to be variables that try to come and derail you from that. And those are going to be the emotions, the fundamentals, right? That company's trash. Cool. Well, the price says it's going up. So, yeah, Manny was here a couple of days this week.
Yeah, along those lines of like news just being like an outlet to fill what Price wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Elf did the same exact thing. It had that day where the news came out about the tariffs,
Mm-hmm.
and it dipped all the way down to like 102. That giant wick, and I think we closed green on that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It filled up all that empty space all the way back down to 102, and it closed at like 115, 120, like around there somewhere.
Yep. And if you look at this and I said to you, there's not been any news, you would just say, well, that looks like price is moving as it should.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and I think looking at Target and that empty space that I said inevitably is going to get filled. I think I remember down here. So I can't remember who asked me. I know you're probably still in here, but me, huh?
It was probably me. I've been talking about Elf with you for a while.
Yeah, well, either it was you, but somebody asked me if I was scared, right? If I was like,
it was definitely me.
Okay, yeah, and I said no, I'm not, because we're sitting here, right? Now, granted, it gets scary, right? But I have to adhere, right? Let me observe how are we moving down there? Pretty quickly, right? Pretty quickly. So you move down quickly, you're probably going to bounce back up pretty quickly. What is that thing that you're bouncing off of? That is cost basis that essentially separates you from a considerable amount of downside, right? This is the largest structure that you have in between you and just this last box over here to our left. And then, you're down in the 70s again, and I'm selling all of my equity because I'm red. But I bought back. And I said, okay, well, if we've spent, and this is the weekly, mind you, right? And we'll go with points of contact. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5 weeks sitting on cost basis. I can't, and what is up above you? Nothing but empty space. I'll never not trust that. That's about as straightforward or as a clear of an answer that I could ever ask for from the market. And at the end of the day, right, with equity, if my average gets, well, first of all, I'm down here, right? So here's the cool thing. If I bought here, which is right exactly on that floor for the first time, if we break down, right, below where I bought this price or where I bought it the second time, I could go ahead and unload that second one and then re-enter, right? This isn't options. I don't have to worry about any decay or anything of that nature. So I can get out. I could chuck. It's equity again. I'm not going to be losing $1 million, in a lightning second. And if we break down and we lose cost basis, that gives me the signal to say, okay, well, maybe it's time to get out completely, because this means I'm going into a new low, and this tiny little box I don't think is going to hold that up. But, you know, building a box on cost basis after with empty space up above you, I mean, we've seen it happen on a lot of different stocks. You know, I believe A&F was the same way, right? You're sitting there consolidating, got empty space up above you. Lo and behold. But let's see here. But yeah, I mean, we just, I think this helps us remove our emotions, you know, the more that you observe. And I think that's the tough part for new people is we don't, when you're new, I think within 2 months, right, you're going to get the general concept of what's going on here. But you can't speed up observing price unless you quite literally go back and watch replays every day, right? But you know it's a replay. It's hard. I wouldn't be interested in watching that. So like watching price action and okay, we just fell really, really quickly down to this floor. So I should expect a bounce. See how it responds to that floor. All right. Anybody have any last questions here in Discord? This is being recorded here, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Oh, sorry. Let's look at Roku. Blind as a bat. All right, so clear, green candle to our left, right? Did we close on it? No. Drop this down. Nope. I didn't ask for that. So this is what we're dealing with right now, right? And then we always mark out what's above and what's below. Now, immediately when I see that... Okay. I don't know what that was. But you are... And you can see it, actually. So I just zoomed in and look. You pull back. You bounce off the floor, off of 80, which is the structure underneath you. And you made a second attempt at closing on that floor, and you've been you're unable to, right? If you do make another attempt, it would even be tougher on the 24-hour because you'd have 87.71, and you'd have to go and reclaim that. So, I guess my answer here, or my analysis would be this pocket of empty space here and here looks like a potential cage in which you would consolidate. But the answer is 88 above, or 87, 80, and then below, right, 80. Oh my God. Oh really, dude? Y'all need girlfriends or something. Anyway. Anybody else? I think we're good to go. All right, guys. This will be posted on YouTube. Make sure you guys go take a peek at the one that I posted, the ADT class if you're new. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Just an FYI, I've got a property shuffle I'm going to be doing here in the next couple of weeks. So I will be here, but I will be especially intraday, or from like 10:30 to 2. I will be pretty busy. So, wait, is TikTok banned? What happened?
Chef.
Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to let you know that there is a parcel arriving on your house on Sunday.
On my house? Can they have it delivered to my door? And
yeah.
Well, I don't want it to be on top of my. I'm sorry. I'm just being a door. I'm sorry.
One of the member actually reached out to me, asked for a favor, so I ordered it for him.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
A gift for me?
You got Ivy handling your Amazon orders too, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Does she order DoorDash for you?
Nah.
I ordered it on Amazon. It's a surprise, but I think you're gonna like it.
I hope so. Or I'll be really angry. No, I'm just kidding. If we can get Ivy to start ordering my DoorDashes, I'm in trouble. Big trouble. That's too far.
I feel like she'll have more self-control than you will.
Yeah, but I don't think I could handle someone telling me no. You know?
What am I doing?
Nothing.
Say no.
Oh my
Yo,
god.
you playing games today?
Probably. Yeah. Today's my last day. I can be lazy. Oh, can you guys hear me chew? My bad. Yeah, it is Neurogum. Neurogum is good. Yeah, I'll probably be in the game chat if you guys actually.
You're in the casino today, Marzo?
In the casino.
Nah, for real. If anybody I know this sounds nerdy as shit, but I'm gonna box in like, I don't know, maybe like 20 minutes. I'll stream it, the VR boxing. I'll stream it for you guys if you want to see it. In
I want to see you get beat up. Hell yeah.
Listen,
Me
I
and
fought.
Lopez want to see you get knocked.
I was feeling really confident, dude. Oh, hold on. Anyway, hold on before I go. But if you guys want to watch it on YouTube, you guys can find any links that you're looking for on somewhere. I don't know. Figure it out. No, just kidding. You'll find them on simplestacksinvestments.com. I'm terrible at this. All right. Have a good day, TikTok. Peace.